Hello Legionnaires, and welcome back to the Legions of Miniatures. Today we're doing a little bit of an unboxing, and as you can see here I have Szarek the Silent King, let's see, right in this area here. We're going to have a bit of a funny camera angle, two perpendicular cameras. I've got the one that's looking down at our desk, just here, and then I've got the one that I'm speaking to at the moment on right angles. At the moment, can't find a better way to set it up. So we're just going to hope that this works all nice and fine. So we're going to look at opening up Szarek's sprues. I've also got the Necron Codex right here. Okay, and we can take a look at some of the rules that he's got for us to play with when he's on the tabletop. Now, he is a relatively expensive Lord of War figure, but he does come with the Supreme Commander trait, which means that we can go ahead and slot him nicely into that Supreme Command detachment, similar to how you would with Rebute Guilliman or the Demon Primox Mortarion or Magnus the Red. So, I mean, let's stop fussing around. I've already taken the cellophane off. I've not opened him up yet. And this is actually going to be a moment of truth because, as I've mentioned in a previous video, I'm not going to build this guy as Szarek. And we'll explore that as we open it up. For now, let's get it open. So, pretty standard cardboard box from Games Workshop. It'll be great for just turning into anything that you'd use cereal box card for. And on the inside, we've got a nice tray. This is relatively standard. We have the rules sheet that just tells us the weapon statistics and similar for Szarek. Doesn't tell us any of the extra rules, which means that actually, even compared to most other units, he is tripping over myself. He is missing so much stuff. I've already taken a look at his war scroll. It is huge. Really is huge. So, I mean, the instructions, these are extensive. One of the things that we note is, unlike previous Necron models, where we are floating via a rod, we do have these little sort of lightning arcs that are going to go underneath. And I think what I'm probably going to do is I'm not going to stick those down. I might look at a magnet, maybe some pins, just to give it that extra stability. It probably, and still leaving it modular. That probably isn't going to be necessary though. So no, I probably will just glue it, but I will wait as a sub-assembly with the whole base, so I can get out there. I can put down some crystals. I can put down some nice glow effects. This might be something I pull an airbrush out for. I don't really use an airbrush much. I'm sort of, when it comes down to my Necrons, I'm mostly interested in just getting them ready. So as you can sort of see, maybe with this guy, not great lighting for the camera, but he is basically done, and it's just like layer, wash. In fact, I think only for some of my character models do I do the wash. I think for my troops, they're just done in layers to get these bold, bright primary colors on the table for my Necrons. So there's not a great deal of effort that goes into them. So the characters are going to be that level of effort. When I build this guy up, he's going to be, I think he deserves an extra level of effort. I mean, 95 quid I think it was for the model. It's not cheap, but it does come in there with the Imperial Knights, and it's a similar points cost. And realistically speaking, it is pretty awesome. We've got our Catan Shard that's been enslaved over here. I mean, it's some great stuff. We've got these tubes. Tubes are something I don't really like on Necron models. I think they fit the part, but I never really know how to paint them up. And they are sort of in this dual fashion, which you can't really see on the camera, but we have the sort of metallic, sort of like you'd see on a shower hose, that sort of ringed appearance, that sort of texture along the inside. And we've got two wires that extend and follow those along the outside. I'm in the tendency of painting those up in a similar way to Gauss weaponry to get that sort of nice glowing effect. So we'll probably take a look at that. And then we've got these lovely sort of black stone little mini monoliths, really. Monolith's not the right term, I suppose, given it has other connotations for the Necron army. But these sort of lodestones or similar that are going to help us stop psychic powers. So those are actually really cool. I'm actually looking forwards to painting those. By standard Blackstone, I'd thought about painting black, though I am actually interested in following Games Workshop's recommendations of painting them in that sort of dark teal color and having them sort of brighten up as we head upwards. One thing I'm not sure on is what color I'm going to do with a Catan shard that is locked away in there. I could go into the green, but I'm going to be having a lot of red on the model. I'm going to be having some black. There's going to be bits of gold in places. I'm not sure if going green is going to make it stand out too much, so I might do it in a sort of a fiery red color palette, just to have it match in with the reds and the golds that will already be on the model from the way I'm going to paint it. And then we've got an image of the Deus of Dominion. I mean, if that's not a power play, if I've ever heard one, Deus of Dominion. A fantastic alliteration, and it just strikes that presence of power, and I love it. And then we can get into Szarek. Now, one of the things I'm seeing with Szarek, actually, is he seems to be intended to be quite monopose. But anyone who's converted flayed ones knows that Necron knee joints, hip joints, and ankle joints are actually very easily reposed. So now that we're looking at Szarek here, I'm going to sort of talk you through what I'm going to do with this guy. I'm going to cut at his knees and his ankles, and I'm going to remodel him so that he is this craven, hunched-over figure. Now, my Overlord has had a long, long history of being this crazy, crazy maniac who believes himself to be the next and rightful heir of the Silent King lines. After the Great Sleep happened and Szarek wandered into the void, he wasn't heard from, and there was a great power struggle trying to fill that vacuum. And some of the Overlords are deranged, some of the Phaerons are deranged, I should say. Some of them are not interested in war, and some of them are set on power. For example, Imhotep the Stormlord, absolutely set on power. So, when it comes to my Overlord, he did not survive the long sleep properly. It's a miracle he survived the long sleep. He was not properly put into stasis. His mind was still aware of the eons as they ticked past. And in that state of lucidity on the verge of stasis, he thought too long and too hard, and the circuits began to degrade, and rather than falling into like a destroyer pattern of everything needs to be annihilated and destroyed, he fell into a state that has since been replicated by the Flesh Eater courts in Age of Sigmar. He believes himself to be the noble king, to rise up and pull the Necrontyr up to what they should be, the rightful rulers of the galaxy, the true dominion. He believes that he has the true right, but no one seems to recognize him as the Silent King, presumably because the Triarch are not beside him. Now, I have played with the Triarch Stalker in the past, but it actually has, I don't know where it is at the moment, I had to dig it out, but it actually has a lot of the symbols of the Triarch, like the glyph, the ankh on it, so that would be on its chest, or decorated on the model. That's been sort of shaved off, and it's all been done up in new colours, and it's not actually piloted by a Triarch Praetorian. And, Triarch Praetorians, they're meant to ensure the codes of honourable combat are upheld. And Osbrok's big on honourable combat. That's his way of doing things, because he sees himself as the next Silent King. He's got that history to uphold. Now, let's say you believe yourself to be the Silent King. You've gone about and you've picked up a good number of these small dynasties and pulled them together under your leadership as the theoretical Silent King. And all of a sudden, some upstart with a great big throne comes along and claims he's the Silent King. It's kind of a dick measuring contest in a certain way. So Osbrok, my Phaeron of the Maksura dynasty, the broken dynasties, they will be repaired one day, but that day has not come because not everyone is under his heel yet. Well, he hears this guy's come along, this Szarek guy pretending to be the previous Silent King, but everyone knows Zarek's gone. And he's got a great big throne. So what's Osbrok gone and done? He's gone to his cryptex. He said, look, I want a great big throne. Don't give me excuses. Give me results. And so they went and they have made a Dais of Dominion just for Osbarok. And he has handpicked some of the other Phaerons of the very, very small dynasties that he's managed to conquer. And he said, okay, you guys are now my triumvirate. We are the Triarch. He's not quite got the whole Silent King thing down. He still talks a lot. He's too vocal to be the Silent King, really. But he is a nut job on a Dais of Dominion now. So my plan is to try and cut the knees and have him be hunched over and craven. And I might go ahead, because as we can see here with this sort of model, the cloak isn't necessarily directly attached. So I might leave the cloak off and just have it as an extra. And maybe we'll trim some tassels off of the Phaerons and add them to the back just to give him that sort of authority appearance over the top of them. Now, the very interesting thing, I think, is how the cloak attaches to the model and then Szarek attaches into the cloak. That's going to be interesting to look at in regards to making the conversion. And the Triarchal Menhirs, same sort of basis of attachment to the base as the Dais of Dominion has, but really quite simple. And then that brings us on to the very end. Now, what makes Szarek... Well, let's take a look at the sprue first. So what we've got on our first sprue, bring this out of the way, is we've got ourselves the nice... Let's see, can we get a bit better? There we are. We've got ourselves the cloak here, and it comes in a couple of different parts. These two here. And I mean, there's actually 3 whole sprues in this bad boy. We've got the 2 bases for the Triarchal Menhirs, and we've got ourselves the big base for the Dominion. And I mean, as I say, looking at it straight away, here are those cloaks that we're talking about. We've got all kinds of little chains and robes that I might repurpose into being a cloak instead of using this larger item. I might have used this larger item were it more parts, and I'm not entirely convinced that I won't maybe try and cut it up. I've got myself a saw very recently, which I might use. But trying to use a saw to then cut that up, grab some bits and pieces of green stuff and start using that to try and resculpt a cloak. That's not something I'm really keen on doing, but it might work if the model looks a bit sort of like it's missing something without the cloak. I think the detail that is hidden behind Szarek will actually make up for the fact that he doesn't have a cloak when I do the conversion. So I'm just trying to see if I can find the area on this sprue where he is meant to stand. So there's these 2 little platforms that look to be about identical, just here and here. I reckon that's where the Phaerons are going to stand. As for the actual point where Szarek stands, let's take a look and see if there's something on the instructions that will point that out for me. Yep, so those points are where the Phaerons go and stand, and they've got some really quite nice balconies built around them. Oh, it might be worth getting some silicon and doing some recasting, because those sorts of plinths would actually make some really nice parts for Necron terrain. In fact, I'm just going to go out and say this right now. If you want 2 great pieces of awesome Necron stuff to put on terrain, if you want a enslaved Catan, if you want 2 awesome looking Phaerons to add to your army, 3 awesome looking Phaerons to add to your army, a massive throne that is just built of parts. It's got a staircase. It's got 2 of these little podiums. This is a kit that honestly you could turn into, I mean, with some things like foam, rock molds, that kind of stuff, I reckon you could probably turn this into an absolutely amazing sort of gateway, or even just maybe Szarek looked like he was relatively easy to repose though. If you could actually move him to a sitting position. You could actually create a really nice sort of like throne area for a Pharaon if you wanted to have just like a Tomb World style piece of terrain. And obviously, rules for using Tomb Worlds are included in the Pariah, in the what's it called? The Psychic Awakening Pariah book, and there's some quite interesting stuff there. And it wouldn't do so well for a matched play game. It really, really, really favors Necrons. But what it would do really well, and it also I think it actually provides you like +1 to reanimation protocols, so it would completely invalidate the Canoptic Doomstalker, not Doomstalker, the Canoptic Reanimator. So that could be a really awesome idea. As for the Pharaons, I'm looking at his legs here, and actually, it's just a single piece of legs with the spine attached straight on there. So that could be slightly better. It's going to make it a bit more awkward if you wanted to repose that, but he does stand rather well, and you just need to do a quick clip of that. Oh, sorry, come off the table. You just need to do a quick clip of this sort of sticking. Let's take these out of the way. See if we can see slightly better. Yeah, so ooh. As you can see, just here behind my nail. We just need to clip that bit off, and that should then allow a more upright pose for the guy if you wanted to go ahead and put him on one of these bases. Now, I think quickly, just looking at this. No, okay. So this base is too big. You need to get one this sort of size, which is doesn't say on the bottom of the base. So yeah, something more like this size would sort you out for your Overlord. I think that's going to be a 40mm base. What else is there to talk about on this model? I mean, the detail is... Oh, I didn't notice those. On the Trialcal Menhirs, you're not going to be able to see this. But there is hieroglyphic script on each one. So I guess that would help you to determine which side you wanted them on. You probably want the hieroglyphic script farther away from Szarek. So actually, they're going to be some kind of like declaration of just who is present. It's like, oh, is the giant throne with 3 Necrons, one of whom looks amazingly over the top, not clue enough for you? The giant walking walls of green eldritch lightning, not enough of a prompt for you. Well, in that case, read this. It says it's Szarek the Silent King and he's come for you. And yeah, the other thing to note is we've only ever seen this from the front. This is the front side, this is the back side, and this just folds straight over and clips into there. So it just folds straight over. So they're going to look great from both sides. You know what could be really, really cool? If we could make an impression of these. Cast it in some translucent green resin. And use those as raise the banner high markers. That could be really awesome. I mean, and... yeah, no, we've looked over these sprues now. I'm really excited to get into them. The Catan Shard body there looks great. The face looks a bit... I don't think the face looks like it's in pain. It looks more like it's... yawning. Yeah, it looks like it's yawning. Sorry, I'm emulating the expression. It's that kind of sound. You might have just heard my jaw go click there. That's my wisdom teeth rubbing against my jawbone. So sorry if that was a sickeningly disturbing pop. Oh, and as all Necron terrain and pieces should have right there by my finger is a little scarab. Not a high enough resolution detail on the camera, unfortunately. Well, that is Szarek the Silent King. Let's put him to one side. At this point, if you're just interested in what's in the box, what does it look like, what are my thoughts of putting it together, that's really it. But if you are interested in just what this guy can do for you and your Necron army, well, 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 well. So, let's see. Loads of things have been moved around. I mean, this is the convergence of Dominion. This is the new Necron scenery right there. But the most important one, in my mind, is Szarek right here. Here we are looking at the Silent King in all of his glory, and my word, 23 power. That is a lot of power. If we're going to go ahead and translate that into points, you'll have to give me just a moment as I find that. Lords of War. It's the Silent King. 3 models, 450 points. It means he's 90 points more than the Monolith, 50 points more than the Tesseract Vault, and 80 points more than the Obelisk. Which is kind of a joke, because the Obelisk is still not good. Compared to like the other leader units that you can take. He's really up there in price. He's really up there. Let's see. What's normally the most expensive sort of thing that you get is the Catacomb Command Barge normally. 145 points for the Command Barge. So, Szarek is by far and away bigger than anything the Necrons have access to. Odd wounds setup. He has 16 wounds. This means that he isn't Titanic. He doesn't get seen through obscuring terrain. And this is really nice. By not being seen through obscuring terrain, he can actually go ahead and hide, and that is kind of useful for him because he's going to be a big target. But it's also misleading. Szarek doesn't just have 16 wounds. He has 26. And this is because of the 2 Triarchal Menhirs on either side of him. Now, the Triarchal Menhirs are in a really sweet spot where they've got 5 wounds each. This means if you're getting hit by damage 2 weapons, they've effectively got 6 wounds. If you're getting hit by damage 3 weapons, they've effectively got 6 wounds. If you're getting hit by damage D6 weapons, they've effectively got 7 wounds. On average. 2d6 is going to roll 7 generally. And because the damage doesn't spill over, they are, they're going to really outperform. This means that Szarek, to begin with, is going to be weaker to some small arms fire. But only kind of. He's toughness 7. Now, this means that as far as Necron vehicles are concerned, he's tough. The Necron vehicles don't get up to toughness 8 unless we're looking at the Monolith or the Obelisk. So it's only 2 of our Lords of War that get up to toughness 8. Nearly everything else is coming in at toughness 6. Silent King is toughness 7, and then those ones I've just mentioned are toughness 8. So toughness 7 puts him at a really, at a pretty high toughness as far as Necrons are concerned, and it does mean that he will be wounded on 6s by very small arms fire. But he's also sitting there with a 3 up in standard save, and if we look a little bit further down, he does come in with a 4+ invulnerable save thanks to this trans-temporal force field over here. That's on the right-hand side, 3rd from the bottom. I mean, even if we just look at these abilities, Noctilith Beacons, he tries to deny 1 psychic power as though he's a psyker. This is, seeing as we've lost the Immortal Will benefit that previous Warlord traits could take, Zarek's basically picked it up into himself. Pharaon of the Stars and Pharaon of the Blades. Now, these are the 2 guys that join Szarek on the model. And there's actually some rules over here, the Preservative Auto Torpor. If Szarek has fewer than 8 wounds, it cannot make attacks with the Staff of Stars, so the Pharaon of Stars dies first. And if he has fewer than 4 wounds, he cannot make attacks with the Scythe of Dust. This is the Pharaon of the Blades. And they each come with their own little abilities, so ranged attack rolls, made by a model within 6 inches, a core model of Triarch Praetorians, model that is within 6 inches of Szarek. They reroll hit rolls thanks to the Pharaon of Stars until he dies at half of the wounds taken on the throne. But remember, that first 8 wounds, that's just on the throne. There's those 10, and as I've said, actually more likely more than 10 wounds on the Triarchal Menhirs. So, I mean, this guy's going to be great. Voice of the Triarch, at the start of any battle round, you can change your command protocols. This is something that really deserves a video in its own right. Effectively, really short rundown, there are 6 command protocols. At the start of the battle, you assign 5 of them to each of the battle rounds. At the start of the battle round, you choose one of the two options from that protocol. And then certain dynasties activate both of the command protocols. So when you're choosing your dynasty, there's going to be one command protocol that you're always going to include. If you get to a round where, in matter of fact, it's not that command protocol isn't as good as the one you didn't choose if you've been hoodwinked by your opponent, Szarek lets you just swap it in there once per game. So that's actually going to offer you loads of sort of diversity. What I might even recommend, if you're taking Szarek, leave one that you like lots, but you don't know when you're going to exactly need it. And leave that one out. And then for one of the rounds, maybe like the 5th battle round, which is a bit sort of late for anything to happen, go with one of the ones that you don't really think is going to be useful. And then, if you get to the 5th battle round and it's still not being useful, use Szarek to whack in the one that you've already got. Well, maybe not quite then, because Zarek's still got to be alive. But it does mean that you're going to have the opportunity to say, no, I need this now, and for Szarek to just let it happen. Triarchal Menhirs, they're going to stop Szarek being shot before they are gone, which is just really nice. And Vengeance of the Enchained, this is the same sort of thing that all Catan shards have when they die. And because Zarek's got that Catan shard right on top of his throne, it's going to be a lot of mortal wounds, a pretty high chance of a lot of mortal wounds when he dies. 2d6 inches, so that's going to be about 7 inches of Szarek. It's quite a large radius. It's going to take d6 mortal wounds. I don't like to say that's going to be 3.5 mortal wounds because you know you're going to roll badly when that happens. And Zarek's going to be well within 7 inches of guys because that Pharaon of the Stars, that Pharaon of the Blades abilities, that Relentless March aura, they're all 6-inch range. Szarek wants to be within 6 inches of other units. If he dies, the opponent is definitely going to... Well, I say definitely, he's going to have a 50% chance of getting his shooting rewarded. So that's a real danger. Let's look at Szarek in combat now. Annihilator Beam, he's got 2 of these. It says heavy 1, but he's got 1 on each Triarchal Menhir. This means they can also split fire. At strength 12, AP -4, 6 damage. Just flat 6 damage. Any vehicle without an invulnerable save, well, I say any vehicle, some vehicles have gone up to a 2+ save now, which is really nice, and does mean that they will have a 6-up save against the Annihilator Beam, but with you hitting on 2s, wounding on 3s, occasionally wounding on 2s, this is a powerful weapon. Shoot 2 of these in an Imperial Knight, and it's not having a good day, and at 36-inch range, this is a level of range Necron players are not going to be used to. This is going to be fun. I can't wait. Scepter of Eternal Glory. This is Zarek's personal shooting attack. 3 shots hitting on 2s as normal. Strength 8 is a really powerful shooting profile. Don't need to tell anyone that. The dude's armed with a mini las cannon that does 2 damage instead of d6 and does 3 shots instead of 1. It's also assault, so he can move and fire it without any issue. Now, I notice the Annihilator Beam is heavy 1. Let's just take a quick look. The Triarchal Menhirs have vehicle keyword, so they will move and shoot the Annihilator Beams without penalty. Staff of Stars is a strength 6, 9-shot shooting attack. I'm not sure what to make of this. At strength 6, it's going to be wounding all infantry. I'm trying to think. Can I think of any toughness 6 infantry? I can't. Off the top of my head. It's going to be hitting them all on at least 3s. Guard is going to be wounding on 2s. AP -2. This is going to be one of those shooting attacks where it's nice and it's going to do some damage, and it is definitely designed to try to plink enemies off of your hull. But here's the thing to remember. these shots can be taken in close combat because Szarek has the vehicle keyword. So, in close combat, that is 9 extra attacks at strength 6, AP -2, 1 damage. Amazing. Frankly, amazing. Now, we come into the melee weapons section. Scepter of Eternal Glory. This is Zarek's attack. He's personal attack. He starts at 6 attacks, degrades to 4, and then 2 over his wounds as he loses them. It's plus 4 strength. That's putting him at strength 9, AP -3, 2 damage. This guy doesn't care if you are a Space Marine. He wants you dead. He doesn't care if you're Firstborn, if you're Primaris, although they're both 2 wounds now. AP -3. He's just like, get out of here. I'm the Silent King. Shove off. This is... And he's hitting on 2s. He's hitting on 2s. You can't complain about that at all. Then you've got the Scythe of Dust and the Staff of Stars. Scythe of Dust is the second one to be lost. Here's one of the things to note. The bottom-most one on both of these profiles is the one that's first lost after the Annihilator Beams. So the Annihilator Beams are gone, then the Staff of Stars shooting and melee is lost, and then the Scythe of Dust is lost. Staff of Stars, 3 extra attacks. So you don't have to worry about dedicating some of your attacks to the Staff of Stars. And it does point out that no more than 3 attacks can be made to this weapon. So all 6 of your attacks going into the Scepter of Eternal Glory. Tough love. But you will get 3 with the Staff of Stars, and it's strength 5, AP -2, 1 damage. It's not great, but like it's kind of being... I kind of feel like the Pharaon of the Stars is more like a Cryptek than he is like a Lord or an Overlord. And he's given me those vibes. He's even given me those vibes in his appearance. So I'm quite happy with the fluff of him having this weaker melee attack. And he's got an okay shooting attack, but it's still not anything to really be excited about. What he does have, though, is that reroll 1's aura, which would be really nasty to lose. And then finally, we got the Scythe of Dust. This makes 4 attacks. And no more than 4 attacks, so just like the Staff of Stars, you can't add extra to them. And it's coming in, it's plus 3 strength, so strength 8, AP -4, 3 damage. Terminators! Terminators! Just go ahead, use that 5+ invulnerable. You're not going to live. Aggressors, they're in a nasty position. The Scythe of Dust, that is the one that's made for killing leaders. You know, throw 2 of them against the captain and then have Szarek hit the captain with 2 of his attacks. And chances are, one of the Scythe of Dust is going to get through, and one of Zarek's is going to get through. That's 5 damage. That's a dead captain. Szarek is an extremely powerful close combat fighter, especially if he gets in there before he's taken his first 18 damage. That's a lot of damage to take, you know. Coming in with a total of 13 attacks with... well, spread across 3 attack profiles, 2 of which are really great and 1 of which is great. It's fine. it's not like... well, let's think about it. What other things are going to bring in strength 5, AP -2, 1 damage attacks, 3 of them hitting on 2s? You're hard done by to find, you know, things that are going to attack better than that without maybe negative to hit penalties. I'm thinking things like power axes. They're going to come in. They might come in at strength 6. No, they're going to come. Yeah, they'll come in at strength 6, I think. Although I don't really know much about power axes. I'm a fan of the power hammer and the thunder hammer. These are the power hammer, the thunder hammer, and the power fist. These are my 2 sort of favorite ones when it comes down to Imperial. Szarek just looks like an absolute beast. 450 points is going to be tricky to fit into some armies, especially with how expensive basic troops are otherwise. One thing I will mention is in the leaks that came out, there was a prediction that Szarek would offer some kind of benefit to what's the word I'm looking for? Reanimation protocols. There we are. He doesn't. What he does have is My Will Be Done that he can use twice. 9-inch range, so it's a bit longer. And it's just, you know, it's add 1 to the attack's hit roll. Each time it makes an attack. That's a shooting attack, that's a melee attack. He does that twice. Can't target himself. It has to be Necron's core, which is quite a lot of the stuff in the book. It's no destroyers. Destroyers can't be benefited from that. So now you're incentivized to bring that destroyer lord instead of something else, because specifically the destroyer lord will help the destroyers in ways that no one else can. Anyway, thank you very much, everyone. I hope this video has been enlightening. I hope you've enjoyed seeing what comes inside the Silent King box. And, you know, I hope you've enjoyed taking a look at Zarek's rules. It has been about a 50-50 split on the video. I have to say, I'm really excited to put both of these to work. My goal, and this is kind of limited because I do have 3 interviews this week. This is going to be fun. 3 interviews for different jobs this week. Good luck to me. But I really hope to get this guy built up towards by the end of the weekend, so that Georgie and I can squeeze in a 2,000 points Necrons versus Space Wolves game, using all the new rules that Space Wolves have just got access to, and play that on our table at home with, fingers crossed, some better sound editing and camera work than we were able to achieve with our last Age of Sigmar game. If you've not seen the Age of Sigmar game, please go check it out. Watch it all the way through. It's going to be loads. I thought it was loads of fun playing it. We only got to the end of turn 3, so it's not even a full game, but it still comes in close to the 2-hour mark. That does include a lot of waffle by us on either side, and there's a little Easter egg in the middle of the video, which I've been told by those who've watched it from my friendship group that at least it's the star of the show, and at best, well, that's at least, and at best, it just makes the rest of the video unwatchably bad by comparison. So go and look for that Easter egg at least. One thing I will say is I apologise when the rolls happen. There is a bit of a twang on the microphone stand that we were using here. Not a whole lot we could have done about that in post without just losing some of our chatting around the top of it. But next time we have a different setup. I've got a microphone that goes on the camera up here, and so we should be able to use that and evade any of the nasty rattling clangs that echoed through the microphone. So, without further ado, thank you guys. Like, subscribe, leave a comment down below. Tell me what your plans are. Are you going to get the Silent King? How do you think you're going to use him? Do you think he's worth the 450 points? Do I seem balmy suggesting to buy a Silent King model to turn it into 3 different Necron characters and some terrain? Is that ludicrous? It might be. I'm wondering myself now. Go ahead, tell me what you think, and please go ahead and just interact with the community that I hope to have form around Legions of Miniatures. Can I give a quick shout out to everyone who's gone ahead and watched the video on how to start your crusade? People have commented that I have a few too many pauses, like certain actors from Star Trek, and it's been a bit distracting. Well, one thing that these books do have in them is they have rules for using that particular army on Crusade, so I will be going back and taking another look at that Crusade video and looking to upgrade it so that it incorporates the explanations on how to make the Crusade roster more effectively, and also how to incorporate the rules that you find in these particular books into the Crusade rosters. Annoyingly, some of the rules are just unique enough where you are going to have a little bit of trouble, where I might have a little bit of trouble just creating a generic video on how to use these in Crusade. But, you know, we'll give that our very best go. Oh yeah, just one of the little things to point out. Whole double page spread for making custom dynasties. I will probably make a video on this shortly as well. Szarek goes in his own detachment, so he's gonna be Zarakan regardless, but he can use all of his abilities on anyone regardless of whether they're Zarakan or not. So even if I convert him up, I might still just run my custom Ancient Dynasty for myself, just because I do like those. And Space Marine's got the same. we've reached a decent stopping point now. I'm waffling a bit too much. If you're still here, good grief, what are you doing? Just know when I've gone off on one and just leg it quickly. Thank you guys, and we'll see you next time. You still here? I thought I told you. You shouldn't just sit around waiting for things to happen. Don't you know when I've gone off on one? Don't you? I mean, we're just sitting here now. What are we going to do? Just thanks for watching. Find more links in the description. I bet you I'm going to forget to put links in the description. You're not going to find any. Why don't you go click on one of these videos? Have you seen the Meet the series? I mean, it started with me saying, Meet the Muxura Dynasty, the one that I've been talking about today. How I'm going to upgrade my Pharaon into the Silent King. Why don't you go take a look at that video? It's the very first one we ever made. Had a different layout as well. Well, I'm assuming if you're still here, you've not clicked on it yet. Why haven't you clicked on it yet? You should go click on it, unless you've already watched it. In which case, watch it again. Share it with your friends. If you haven't shared it with your friends, why not? Did you know that sharing things with your friends makes you a more likable person? This extends to everything. Everything. Everything is better if you share it with your friends. Like syphilis. Syphilis is better if you share it with your friends. Well, okay, maybe not everything. Well, I don't know. Bubonic plagues, better with friends. It's always nicer to know that people are sharing in your misery. Always nice. Or joy, if you're a servant of Nurgle. What are you still here for? I mean, I could only keep talking for so long. Oh my word. I've got to say, I'm excited about these Necrons. But here's a question. Nurgle, that's all rust and stuff and disease. I mean, Necrons aren't made of iron. They're made of living metal. I presume living metal fixes itself, so it doesn't get rusty. And obviously, I don't think a computer virus counts as a virus for Nurgle's sake. Does that mean Necrons are the best way of defeating Nurgle? I mean, they don't change much. It's a pretty stagnant empire. It's not really evolved to any great deal. Kind of does away with Tzeentch. No skulls. All of them are miserable. I mean, if you ask me, Necrons, they're the way to defeat chaos. I mean, Necrons are the good guys. Why are you hating on Necrons? What are you still doing here? Have you shared it with your friend yet? You should do that. Have you hit the subscribe button? Give that a go. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. I mean, 20 minutes, man. 20 minutes. That's how long I could sit here for. I could sit here talking nonsense for 20 minutes guaranteed. You know what I haven't done yet? I haven't painted my Scorpec Lord. I'm not sure I'm going to. You know, he's kind of got a tiny head on massive chest and body. And it unnerves me a bit. I'm not sure I like it. I don't think I'm going to paint my Scorpec Lord. But then, I will have been given Indomitus for my birthday. And not painted the really, really big flashy guy on the inside of it. So maybe I won't. But, I just got so much stuff to do. I mean, 3 interviews this week. Oh my word. And how are you meant to inspire kids in physics? How? Nothing you learn in physics is interesting until maybe GCSE. Probably A-level. And definitely university. University physics is amazing. I love university physics. Oh, that reminds me. And, you know, if you've been sitting around listening here for so long, I think you're committed. I think you deserve to hear some of what I've been thinking for the channel in the background. I've been thinking, I've got friends who know lots about physics, and some of these 40k weapons are completely ludicrous. Could we perhaps sit down and think, which of these weapons are possible in the 40k universe? Which of them are possible in the modern universe? Can we make plasma guns? Well, yes, we can make plasma guns. That's relatively easy. But can we make a plasma gun that actually, say, burns a hole through a tank? Is that possible? Or, I don't know, Tesla carbines from the Necron kit. Huge guns that shoot lightning over long distance. Is that possible? Or, once we get up to that level of energy, should we be using it for something more effective? Well, I mean, so those are some interesting questions. Got a video planned for my Necrons versus Georgie's Space Wolves to make use of the new codexes. I think that would be pretty nifty, pretty neat. I mean, it's all very exciting. There's plenty going on. Yeah, I don't know what more to say, really. But I did say I could do this for 20 minutes, but maybe I should just tap out early. I mean, Georgie will be back from her tennis soon. So, when she's back from tennis, we're going to have spaghetti bolognese. I'm hoping she's going to pick up some garlic bread on the way home. Going to have garlic bread and spaghetti bolognese with fresh pasta. That's going to be quite nice. It's going to be a delightful meal. We do this thing where we put extra bits of chorizo sausage in it. So it's got that extra bit of spice, but also like an extra sort of nice oily nature to it. So that could be really, really nice. And yeah, I'm just really excited to include the Silent King into my army. I mean, you can't really complain too much about that. He's a model on... Well, I don't know how big he's going to be. I suspect he's going to be about the same size as Nagash. So that could be quite fun. Just having... Oh gosh, where am I going to put him? Where am I going to store this guy? I don't know. Do I want to do something extra with his base to make him stand up a bit more? That could be pretty cool. Could have him cresting some kind of ridge and just about to sort of descend upon the normals below. I wonder if I've got any sort of models. Ooh, do I have any thought of models that I could have emerging from the rock or running away from him? Maybe. I've probably got a spare Necron warrior somewhere. I think I actually have 41 Necron warriors with Gauss flayers at the moment. So maybe I should grab one of those, bend him around in a weird way, and have it looking like he's been sort of... He's emerging from the earth as a Silent King glides overhead. Or in this case, as Osbrock glides overhead. So that could be really cool. Yeah, I could do that. That sounds pretty nifty. Well, what else am I thinking about doing? Well, I've got a whole bunch of little cardboard inserts that I need to go ahead and actually transform into scenery. That could be a good project. Something to make a bit of a video on as well. The problem I've got is it's going to require active editing. Whereas a video like this, done in all one shoot, you know. Like, I've clicked that end card button. We're looking at this screen right here. It's all one take. Oh, looks like I just got some mail. And, well, an email specifically. I mean, I can't stay around too much longer. I've got things to do. I've got to prep pasta. I've got to prep spaghetti bolognese. I've got to get ready for garlic bread to go in the oven. I've got to think more about all these awesome ideas that I've got for videos. And I mean, this video ended 10 minutes ago. What are you still doing here? Have you shared it with your friends? Why haven't you given them this video? Why haven't you given them the other videos? Why haven't you clicked on the other... Right, okay. Oh my god. Okay, fine. Let's make a deal. Let's just make a deal. Okay? You and me. You sound like... And you seem like an amenable person. I mean, you've sat here and you've listened to my problems for the last 10 minutes. Let's make a quick deal. You go ahead. Like the video. Subscribe to the video. Put a comment down below. Just saying, hey, Lando, I watched to the end of your ramble and rant. Just leave a comment down below saying that. If you do, go ahead and also look for the Discord link in the description. Join the Discord, and we could set up a game over Roll20, you and me, to be broadcast on the channel. That sounds pretty good, if you want my opinion. If you share it with a friend, we'll make it a narrative game where we use a custom battle plan that is designed to make your army look like the hero. Obviously, no one's going to know this is the case because no one's going to watch to this point in the video, apart from you. You humble, kindly person who is alt-tabbed and has allowed this video to continue to the point that it has, and are just waiting for the next thing in the playlist to start. I mean, tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. There you are. You've got your task. That is the deal. Leave a comment, like, subscribe, add in share with a friend. Share with a friend as well. join the Discord, message me to tell you you've done all that, and we'll go ahead. We'll do it. You and me, or maybe someone else. But, you'll be on the channel. That's what matters. Fame and glory, right? Fame and glory.